We have everything we need. We just need to bring it together, right? Here's so much food, Northern Hemisphere, Europe and America, and then other parts, they don't have food because we feed it into the wrong mouth, like into the farm animals. We could feed everyone already now, more than enough.
Welcome to Heart of Change podcast, where we explore heroic and inspiring stories of change.
In today's episode of Heart of Change podcast, I'm sitting down with Thore Hildebrandt. Thore's story is nothing short of inspiring, from an international banker to a sustainable vegan chef and avid cyclist. Thore's transformative journey began during his time in a Buddhist monastery, where he discovered a deep passion for food and cooking. As a zero-waste, sustainable chef in Berlin, his work goes beyond just preparing meals. His events share lessons in mindfulness with a fresh perspective, changing the way we consume food. Whether you are vegan, vegetarian, meatitarian, and everything in between, what is your relationship with food? Thore brings a wealth of information and education to the table on topics like zero waste and sustainability to new, fresh concepts on food preparation. Food brings us together in so many ways, from tradition to connectedness. I'm looking forward to hearing from Thore and gaining some true food for thought. Thore, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And this intro, holy, insane. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Happy
well,
to talk to you.
you've accomplished and you've done so many amazing things in your life. I have to ask, how does one go from an international banker to a vegan sustainable chef?
Listening to your heart. So I was listening to my heart. I was 18 years banker, and most of the time I enjoyed it. But then the last, I think, 6 years, it was, it's okay. I do earn money, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But I didn't feel like I'm doing something with my hands. I wanted to do a job which I can make something. Mm-hmm. Meaningful at that time was not really the path, but I wanted to see at the end of the day what to do, and I always enjoyed cooking.
I heard a slogan by David Bowie this morning, actually, where he was saying, if you can work for yourself, do it. And if you're not pushing a creative edge, then you're not able to really express yourself. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It really, I mean, we talk about this comfort zone thing, right? Leave your comfort zone. And I like the saying, if it was easy, everybody could do it. It's a little bit similar, right? Do whatever brings you out of your comfort zone. And if I wouldn't have left my comfort zone, I would still be a banker and probably very unhappy. The way to a chef is bumpy. It's new. It was all new to me, right? Why should someone like you cook with me when I have an education as a banker in finance? Why should you cook with me, right?
Mm-hmm. You had to build that credibility.
Yeah, I do.
You followed your heart, but how did you know that cooking was for you? How did you develop that love?
It was not in the monastery. It was already before. I always enjoyed cooking. I enjoyed cooking, opening the fridge, have a check what's in there, and try to make something out of it. So something out of the stuff which is already here. Mm-hmm. And the start I was cooking like everyone, right? You learn it from your parents, you do meat, you do a little bit veggies, and then potato, pasta, and all the stuff. Mm-hmm. I always liked it, but not in a professional way. I enjoyed, though, cooking with friends. Yeah, this is how my journey also, I wrote a blog when I was traveling more for myself and for people who are at home, cooking with friends. But friends never pay you money, so you can make a living out of it. So that concept was not the best one to get a little bit more cash flow.
Is there a particular meal that was your first that you kind of got you started on this journey?
Not on this journey, but yesterday I spoke about this. My first meal I cooked for my parents was pasta. Very disgusting pasta, they said, because I started cooking it in the cold water without salt. I kept it cooking very long because I didn't know when it was ready. So I kept it cooking for maybe 30 minutes. It was really, really soft. And then I added some cold ketchup. But my parents, they really liked it. They said, oh, it was so delicious and so yummy. And probably that was the start of my cooking journey, right? I was empowered by my parents, even with a very not yummy dish. They said to me, it's very nice, thank you very much. Imagine if they would said, I can't eat this. Yeah, cooking, never cook again. I would be probably not sitting here as a sustainable chef, maybe as a broken boy.
How old were you when you made this ketchup inspired?
I think it was
pasta?
4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so I watched the parents, how they make it. And then I wanted to surprise them. They probably also, oh no, the boy alone at home, right? Maybe they were just going for shopping or in the basement somewhere. And I was mixing up all the stuff and then very happy, right? And proud of myself serving that.
Great. And so you did go to the Buddhist monastery.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Was that after your stint as an international banker or sort of in between? When did that happen?
That was basically the start. So they kicked everyone out in Asia, the bank I was working for. So they wound down the business and everybody was let go. And during that time, I was in Hong Kong and sitting with my wingman, Thorsten, in a bar. And I said, I'm fed up with all this. I'm going to turn a monk. I'm going to be a monk. I sent in myself for 6 months, no alcohol, no party, no nothing. Okay, the 6 months were not happening. It was 10 days, a retreat or like an introduction into Buddhism. And it was in October when I started my world trip. I wanted to start in Nepal. I wanted to do hiking. And I checked this Kopan monastery, and they only have once a year in October, they open their gates for people who want to get more to know about Buddhism. And that was exactly, it was probably meant that I was there to go to this monastery. And that was a start, a little bit of also my change of how I eat, how I consume, but not right away.
I was reading a little bit about the Buddhist monasteries and their practice of mindfulness with eating. And I read that there are 2 different types. Like there's those in China and Hong Kong and Vietnam. And then is it the Theravada, which is a separate type of concept? Is that correct? I think the one you were with, they're vegan focused.
No, I think they were vegetarian at that place. I don't know which Buddhism style it is, to be honest. I just like the way of thinking, right? Don't harm animals. Everybody wants to be happy. Even your biggest enemy wants to be happy. It's like, what? No, she should not be happy. My ex-wife, at that time I was divorced and felt really little more grief in there. Like, why is this happening? Why this breakup came? But a change in perspective is really helpful. Say, no, they don't do that on purpose. Everybody wants to be happy. Yeah.
Such a simple concept.
It is very
but
simple.
It's complicated, to embody. So what are the key things you took away from this time at the Buddhist monastery, and how did that influence, how you're a chef today?
At that time, I still can't meditate. My brain is kind of always working. I try to reduce the thoughts there, but they're still there. The way it changed probably myself is that I look a bit different to the animals out there, right? When I started 2016, it was animals. We have the farm animals we eat, and then we have the pets we don't eat, but they're the same. So that kind of way changed to me, that they have a feeling and I don't want to eat them. But only maybe 1 year later, I started the vegan journey. 1.5 years later only. So it was a seed was in me, and it slowly growed, and I started to my vegan journey, 2018, now 6 years ago, out of curiosity.
Do you feel when you, whatever you eat, you also bring in that energy from what it is that you eat? Do you believe that that's true?
Not really, but I like the concept, right? I also like the concept that when we die, energy is not going to disappear. And I also like the idea of the Buddhism that there's something after you die. I can't explain how that works, but the idea is very nice. Yeah, and the same with the energy. If you have good food with good energy, it makes sense, right? We talk about if we eat meat from like scared animals, it can't be a good produce.
Right.
So yes, in a sense, yeah.
And I think there's a big difference between eating like factory raised animals if you are a meat eater versus farm raised because of how the animals are treated as well.
But they also don't want to die, right? If we want to take away pain, and we all should eat the farm animals being in these big boxes because they have a lot of pain and they have a shitty life. So we should eat these and stop their suffering. Then the ones who are very happy, like running around on the grass, they should stay longer because I'm happy. I don't want to die, right? So if you put that into my perspective, I will still want to live because I have a happy and good life. And why should I decide to, with 47, game over, or even earlier, right? If we come to the farm animals, they're only like teenagers, or even less if it comes to like our age, and then it's.
Some people think that also vegetables have feelings as well. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't believe this.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, they have a system where they communicate with the cells. But if that's the case, I mean, some people just eat stuff which falls off the tree, right? You don't take it from the tree. If they like it, they should do it, but it's nothing for me, and I don't see this point. But I think in our society, you can have a setting for everything of your need and everything of your thought. Right, fruitarian, you only eat fruits, you only eat raw food. If it works for you, cool stuff.
Right. So obviously there's a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
We have people out there that are, consuming food in a lot of different ways. So really the key here is mindfulness, and where is a good place to start with mindfulness when it comes to consuming food?
First of all, think what you eat, right? Where it comes from. Is there nutrition in there, or is it only sugar, fat, which gives us a nice pleasure? Because the industry out there is very advanced in giving us a very short pleasure, a lot of salt, right? All these aromas. But take a step back and see, okay, is this really food, or is it processed? Where my food comes from? Yeah, sometimes when I first saw Brussels sprouts that they grow on a stalk, because here in Germany, we get these all cut off, right, the Brussels sprouts. Most of the people, and even in school, we don't know how the food grows and how long it takes and how the little plant looks like and how it looks like when it's grown up. Yeah? When I first saw how an ananas is grown, a pineapple, like, ooh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the way probably also in school we should teach more how we grow the food, to have a little bit more feeling of, if we throw away food, how long it takes to grow it, right? And how many people are involved to make our food, to have a little bit more sense what we eat and how we that we deserve this food, and that we should be eating it and not throwing it away.
Right. So creating more awareness about an education around what it is we're eating, where it comes from, how it's grown, especially with sustainability, like eating processed food is not a very sustainable option, as well as like looking at food that's in season. Some people don't even think about whether their produce is in season or if it's not in season.
Yeah, I mean, you go to a supermarket, even you go to an organic supermarket, and then you check. Even nowadays, you get potatoes from France, Egypt. They're in organic quality, but they come from far away. And don't we have also like potatoes here and onions and stuff? Yeah. So it's also, you need to check if you want, but otherwise it's like this globalization thing, right? You can get the cheapest organic beans from China and buying beans here like legume and other stuff dried. You can't get it in an organic version because it's way too expensive to produce like soybeans or kidney beans here. Because the demand is not there and the farmers are getting subsidy to grow food for cattle or other stuff.
So how do you think we can create awareness and make change within how we're gaining our food or importing or growing homegrown food? Like, how can we create more awareness and change around that?
To me, it started with the kids, right? When I was in school, we had the Schulgarten. It's like a school garden. We were growing some stuff. We were taking away the snails and checking the soil for some worms and stuff. So this is how it all starts, right? And then we see it growing. And then we have around Berlin, we have a lot of farms where you can sign up with your share, and then you get like every second week or every week you get a box with whatever is in season, and even you get stuff which you don't know, and then you need to find out, okay, how do I work with that? So I think that is a first step, and also where I get my protein from, because a lot of people still think protein you get only from animals. And then have a look, and always say, have a look at the biggest animals on planet. They are vegetarians. Yeah, they don't eat meat to be strong, like the rhino or the gorilla, or the elephant. They all eat veggies, so they eventually get their protein. So it's a education about protein, legume. Many people think they have like some gas. They're farting around. We need to get like adjusted to everything we eat slowly.
So if someone did want to make that switch to going vegetarian or going to vegan, is there any like tips that you can teach them on how to like kind of get their body adjusted to that change?
It's not easy. Start slowly by slowly. Not like from today on or 1st of January, I'm skipping everything. For some people it works, for most not, right? If you say, I want to stop smoking, you have this date, and then like, oh no. Just slowly reduce, try to find a good plant milk for you, which tastes, try to find a good spreadable cream cheese, because there are also good brands out there. Don't try to find a good sliceable cheese, because it's very difficult to find it as a vegan version. There are brands out there, but they're crazy expensive if you compare both, because the cheese industry they're just producing like tons. That's why they produce at scale, and then it's cheaper, and all the others are very startup. So go slowly, try to find your brand for the milk, like which you probably also did for cow milk. There are maybe 30 different companies out there. Just give it a try, and not just try once and say, it's all disgusting. I can't drink plant milk. I can't eat tofu. Yeah, we all probably have this bad tofu experience where you have tofu which is not tasty, it's not crispy, it has no flavor. But you can make tofu very delicious. We come to that later.
And don't you think that a lot of these like organic foods are, I would say, for the rich in a lot of ways. Like they don't make it accessible to the masses. I know that I've seen that in the past.
Yeah, the thing is, we have to change the picture. The other stuff is too cheap because there's a lot of subsidy going into the conventional food. That's why it's super cheap and that's why it's accessible. If the subsidy, part of it, would go into the organic food, make it cheaper, the prices would align, and then every consumer could make a decision if I want to go for a slightly more expensive organic or the conventional, which kills our planet because they put a lot of pesticide in there, mono farming, because it's all about growing very fast, but don't take care of the planet. So this needs to be aligned by the government or the EU to put the money, which is, at my perspective, put into the wrong produce, put into the organic, and then we have it like most of the balance, and then it's accessible even more and more delicious food.
Do you see this moving in the right direction? Like, do we have organizations that are involved in making these changes now, and how is that going?
I mean, it's difficult, right? We have the cycle every 4 years. We go for election, and whoever party takes away money, they just get slapped, right? Whatever you take away subsidy from the farmers, take away money from education. Yeah, I mean, there is money there. We spend so much money on military stuff. Try to make this a little bit more balanced. Of course, in this world, if you say we don't do anything for our army, I have no idea, but there is money. It's sometimes really spent into the wrong pockets, or it just disappears in pockets. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. I continuously think we need to put more of our funds into our education system to be teaching these different things like how to eat and how to be mindful.
Mindful finance, how to send an application if you want to have a job, right? There was this guy, Oscar, he applied for a little traineeship during school, but he never had any like guidance, right? He was sending me a random text and I didn't want to answer, but then my community said, hey, answer. He probably is his first application and he doesn't know better. And I remembered, when I was in high school, I also had no idea. My parents, they helped me, but probably his parents didn't want to help him. So it's more like, and then it's my brain, okay, they have to know it. No, they can't know how to eat, how to cook, where to get produce, best before date, finance, insurance, very important for Germans, right? Insurance.
As we were, or I was preparing to speak with you, and I was walking through the city, and I saw such a dichotomy of things. On one hand, I noticed a lot of little gardens that have popped up in Berlin where people are growing their own produce and building these communities around, sustainable and organic food, which was really nice to see. But then, you walk a little further down the street and you're in the parks and you see all the waste and all the trash just scattered all over the park. And I thought how interesting you see such a polarity of an existence within blocks of each other.
I can feel you, right? Going to a park, especially in summer now, where everybody does the barbecues. Mm-hmm. So they carry a shitload of stuff, right? They are sweating food, drinks. So it's possible to bring it to the park, but when the load is off, because we have been eating almost everything, the people can't take the trash home, which is less weight, right? Just keep it there and say, oh, I pay taxes. Someone else should clean up after me. Probably at home it looks the same, right? Or someone else cleans up also at home after them, right? It's like this mindset. Someone else will clean it up. Someone else will clean up the dog shit, right? Which in Berlin is way better now, because back 20 years, you said, I pay taxes for my dog. I don't need to clean up my dog shit, right? So it's like someone else will take care of it. It's like this mindset thing
Someone's
again.
shoes.
Yeah, some of them are shoes, or crazy. Or if you go with the bicycle and it flips off and you smell like, something again. Yeah, it's I don't know what's wrong with people nowadays, right? They just throw away their stuff and they open the cigarette box and then the foil just
They
go.
just toss it out.
I mean, do we do it at home? No.
I think what it did is it created a lot of awareness for me about, all the trash going around and how much waste is floating around in this world, both in the food and in the packaging. And I had read a statistic, I think on your website, where you mentioned there's like 2.5 trillion, is it tons of waste globally?
Food waste, yeah.
Food waste.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that and share more?
Do you know how much that is? Can you imagine?
I can't imagine.
It's crazy, right? It is. In Germany, it's per minute 1 truckload. Yeah, everybody can imagine 1 truck full of food. Most of them is eatable per minute. So that adds up to 18 million per year in Germany. Still a big number. And then the 2.5 trillion tons globally. It's crazy. And most of the stuff we can eat, it's either it doesn't look well, it's not the norm, it goes bad on the transportation, but most of the food goes bad in the private households. It's like 50%, depending on a statistic, is us and consumers having most of the food waste. Either we believe more into a date, which is printed on the can or on the cheese or on the yogurt, or we buy too much, right? 3 buy 3, pay 2. Or we buy like 1 kilo of rice and we only eat 100 gram. So all this stuff, we don't know how to store it. And of course, we here in the Northern Hemisphere, we have the privilege that we have a lot of food, and we have the privilege that we can choose and go to a supermarket. And probably in the US, it's even worse. You have like 50 different brands for yogurt, and they're all too strawberry. Crazy. When I grew up in Eastern Germany, we were lucky when we had yogurt, right? And if we didn't have yogurt, we buy something else. Did we feel bad? Yes, sometimes we did, but we had food, right? So on one hand, we have a lot of food, and on the other hand, 10% in the world, 800 million people, they are starving. They don't even have food. So we have everything we need. We just need to bring it together, right? Here, so much food, Northern Hemisphere, Europe and America, and then other parts, they don't have food because we feed it into the wrong mouth, like into the farm animals. We could feed everyone already now, more than enough. If the distribution, I call it the distribution, either the food is prepared, would distribute into the countries where there's hunger, or we empower them to grow their own food. Taking away on this was like my business with all the stock exchange and futures, and I'm buying grain which in 3 months to this price. So the local farmers, they just said, it doesn't make sense for me because they can buy flour very cheap, which comes from other countries, and I'm out of business. Yeah, and then the price for flour raises. They can't buy food anymore because of all these fluctuation. It's crazy. I have no idea how to solve it, but it's all there.
Right. Yeah.
We need to put it
Basically,
together.
we shouldn't have a food crisis, period. We should have a more equitable world and be more mindful about how we eat. So, like, I think even not only all the choices we have, but people just don't finish what's on their plate. They're not very mindful about how they're eating as well. I read somewhere as well that, like, back in ancient times, like the whole premise of prayer was to, give thanks for what you were eating, and people used all of, whether it was an animal, vegetable, or whatnot.
Yeah.
They were much more connected to the earth and to what they were consuming and what they were doing. Whereas now I think we're just so busy. We're so mindless about what we're doing. And we're forgetting what it means to be connected in that way, not to just everyone around us, but to the earth and
Yeah, busy. You say busy, right? All these to go thing. Espresso to go is this one of the most stupid thing to have, right? You get like this little cup and you have a lid on there with a 1-sip espresso. Can't you just drink it there like these 3 minutes? Drink it from a proper cup, enjoy. But then you run with this little espresso to go and enjoy like mini zips of this espresso. All this to go because we don't take the time anymore to have a proper meal. Just and then we eat and we sit in front of the computer, like I also did when I was in banking. Or sometimes I still do it, but I want to relax. Right, when I come to my cooking classes, most of the time I don't join for dinner because I want to relax when I'm eating, and when I'm working, I'm not really relaxed because there's still work in the kitchen to do. To me, it's more like I'm sitting here, I'm chatting with you, having a good time, enjoying a drink, to just connect to the people and connect also to the food and feel like, how does it work for me? I feel I'm full. Vegan food doesn't make you like, oh, I can't move anymore, right? You're satisfied, you're full, but your body doesn't need to work so much to digest it. Right? If you have all this cream and you have red meat and all this, a lot of people say, oh, portions are too big, as you said. We don't finish it. We feel like maybe embarrassed when we ask for a to-go container. Oh no, what should the neighbors think, right? But I think times also changes now that people say, yes, I take it home. Maybe there's like a reusable container, or the best thing is you bring your own container, which I also sometimes, most of the time I also forget to bring my own container when I go for dinner, to avoid like packaging waste.
So tell us some easy tips that people can do at home if they want to create a more sustainable lifestyle, or they want to be more mindful in how they're consuming. Are there just some simple things that they can do?
Yeah, to me, it's just simple things. If you check your fridge, sometimes the veggies are a little bit soft, right? They pop them in the oven. The oven does the same thing, takes away the water. So they're already soft. You save a little bit energy in the oven because a lot of water has already gone out of the veggies. And then now check what greens comes out of the roots. There's a lot of nutrition in there, right? Carrots, beetroot, radish, all this stuff. It's a lot of nutrition there if you buy it organic, right? Ideally, because otherwise a lot of pesticide has been sprayed on, and we don't want to eat this. And also check this best before date. Don't trust your senses. We survive because we have our senses. Then we have the best before date. 41 or 42 years ago, it was put into place. And a lot of people just believe this number. Forget about this number. But if it comes to meat and fish and stuff, which is a consumption date, then don't eat it like after. But most of the stuff is really way longer eatable, like pasta, 2 more years, rice, if it's stored properly. Eat this. And give also legumes like chickpeas and beans a chance, because if it comes then to affordability, it's way cheaper than meat and chicken. But you need to have a little bit more preparation, and that takes time because we are not used to cook with that anymore, because our parents told us you need to have chicken, you need to get protein from pork, from fish to get omega-3 and all this stuff. But let's check what 100 years ago, we were eating tons of beans. Yeah, we were eating 20 times more beans than we do now because meat was not affordable. It was only on Sunday. And now we have it every day, every restaurant, right? Sushi here and all this stuff. It's normal. And of course, it's very tasty for most of the people. And that makes the change so difficult.
Well, I am a big fan of lentils, so I'm constantly cooking lentils. And I also heard that beans are really good for your glycemic index. So if you are going to eat sugar or something sugary, it's good to have beans constantly in your diet so it can regulate your blood sugar levels. So there's so many health benefits to them.
Yes, they are. But not the first 2 weeks, our stomach, our digestion system gets a little irritated. With every change when we do it in our diet, if I would eat meat now, my body would say, hey, what's going on here? I don't feel well. And the same thing, if you start eating every day like lentils, but you're not used to it, your body would say, oh, I feel a little tummy ache. And then the gas comes out. And say, it's not good for me. People stop after 2 days. Of course, give it a little bit more time. Yeah, your body is adjusting to any change in diet. If you start to eat now the kimchi I gave to you, like the 500 gram, like in one, and you're not used to it, you probably would also be feeling a little bit like, oh yeah, something's wrong with me. Maybe I shouldn't eat too much kimchi because it's not good for you. Start slowly again.
Yeah. So about fermented foods, because I know you're a big fan and I love kimchi and I love fermented foods as well. I read that the first fermented food was discovered 13,000 years ago. 13,000. I don't know if that's a correct statistic, but they've been with us for a very long time. And I'm guessing because they hold and they're sustainable, why do you have such a love for fermented food?
Yeah, the fermented stuff. So we Germans, we love our sauerkraut, yeah. But the sauerkraut we can buy has nothing to do with the fermented sauerkraut because it's cooked. It's made sour with vinegar and they added sugar and salt and all this stuff. And it comes in a jar or in a can. But it's that. It's still like kraut, but the fermented stuff is really good from the lacto acid bacteria. Difficult word. Milchsäurebakterie is easier. It's good for our guts. It's good for our immunity system. And it preserves, it's the new superfood. It used to preserve vitamins over the winter. Right nowadays, we get lemons all over the year. We get red paprika, which has way more vitamin C than the lemon, and even 2 or 3 times more vitamin in there. And the onion also has more vitamins. So always every morning, drink your tea with onion than with lemon. You get more vitamin if it's like tasty or if it's good if you talk to other people after having onion.
So wait, I want to make sure I got that right. Drink your tea with not lemon, but
onion as a
onions.
joke because it has more vitamin C, but it's not tasty. You can eat a raw onion to get more vitamin C, but probably during the day
you'd be crying a lot,
and you would probably not very social because of the smell of your breath.
So if you don't want people around, eat the onion.
Eat that, yeah. No, my mom, she was giving us onion syrup, cutting onion, adding some sugar, and the sugar together with the oil and essences from the onion makes us healthier. So
interesting.
I always wanted to have this onion juice. We call it onion juice when I was a little sick because it was so sweet. Not because of the onion, because of the sweetness. Yeah, so it's the vitamin, the preserving part over the winter, but it's also very good for us to eat fermented food, which is forgotten. Because we have frozen stuff, we have supplements. You can buy supplements for everything, even if you don't need it. No one checks it a lot. You get like this full complex to get like vitamin, minerals, all this stuff. It's a big industry. Again, big industry for that. But if you buy or make your own ferments, you're already a very good way. And probably during Corona, you remember Corona, if everyone would have gotten 1 jar of sauerkraut or kimchi, we probably wouldn't been so sick.
It really builds the immune system. And I think some of these supplements, they don't absorb well in your body.
I don't know. It's like you
Not a
have a
doctor.
60 multi-complex supplement thing for everyone. Yeah, and then sometimes you don't need it and it goes out again, or it's even harming your system if you add too much of vitamin C into your body in a constant way. So we think we are adding nice stuff to our body, but we don't.
So tell us a little bit about your business. Like, what does your business entail, and how do you leverage things like fermented foods in your business?
So I like to bring people together. It's not a cooking school. It's more like bringing people together. We cook, we have fun, we laugh, we create new stuff. I inspire people to eat the leaves from the carrots just as it is, to try it. Most of people have not tried it. Yeah, I always incorporate different way of protein, because a lot of people don't know that peas have a lot of protein. Mushrooms, tofu has a lot of protein, which if you make it nice, you don't feel that it's like boring tofu. So to me, it's like showing people what you can make out of different produce, which they didn't think of in the first place. So it's the zero waste part, where we try to use up everything which the nature gives us. So nowadays, I'm not saving a lot of food going to the supermarkets, like food sharing or or the Tafel. I'm going to the organic supermarket and I try to use up everything. Yeah, the core from the apple, we make a little juice out of it. We cook it and let it sit overnight. Then you can drink it. It's like a refreshing apple drink. And then we don't peel a lot, because there's a lot of nutrition under the skin. So if you peel off everything, we peel the nutrition off. So all these things nowadays work. And if I'm in other cities, I ask people to bring stuff which they have at home, for instance, and we make a creative cooking party. Yeah. Or we rescue food together at some supermarkets, and then we have a big table full of rescued food which would have gone into the trash, and we create stuff out of it. So it's a mix of educating people with stuff I have, which with recipes I know they work very well, and with the intuitive cooking of let's cook with the stuff we have. And the fermentation part is like the preserving part, right? When you have a lot and you can't eat it now and the fridge is full, the freezer is full, then just put it into a jar, turn a lid on and let it ferment, because there's no air coming in and the fermentation process starts. And when you're back from holidays, you have very nice ferments at home. Yeah.
Do you have a story, a success story, or something that really inspired you from one of your classes, your cooking classes?
Not from the cooking classes. It's when I cook with kids, right? They are so honest and open. We as adults, we're like poker face and yeah, okay, I knew it. Yeah, it's okay. But the kids. So I come there, I say, we cook vegetarian, because when I say vegan, they're, oh, no, I'm not going. At the end, they are clever, say, hey, but the way we cooked, it's vegan. I say, yeah, it is. And we cook like tofu. And half of the group says, I'm not eating tofu. I said, okay. Most of the time, half of the tofu is gone before we have lunch, because they eat it. So this is very, very interesting, that when you prepare food differently, people eat it, and our perspective is, oh, I can't eat this because someone told me it's not tasty, even without trying. Yeah, so that works very, very well in the surprise moment, right? I say, you don't need to try, but maybe you want to try. And then one of the students takes a little bite and say, oh, that tastes very yummy. And then you see the others like, oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yes.
Not so bad.
Yeah. So here that works for kids, that works for grown up, for adults. The surprise. Yeah. With food, which they didn't expect. And that's always when I say, yeah, no. Especially with men. A lot of meat. Men have to eat meat to be like a strong man. And if it comes to barbecue, yeah, you need to like put a nice steak on there, but putting like a mushroom skewer, it's not so manly. But time changes as well, fortunately.
Have you seen a lot of change, in the community since you've kicked off some of these programs?
People are more open to the sustainable cuisine, not to the vegan cuisine. So that's why I call it sustainable cooking. Sustainable cooking, right? If you think about more sustainability in what we eat, let's reduce the animal produce, and that's what people like. No one likes to throw away food, so coming indirect from the sustainable, we don't throw away food, and telling them that 80% of the food which we throw away is vegan, it's a win-win, right? Say, let's use it up and eat also vegan or plant-based. And one meal per day, everyone survives without meat. Even the craziest meat eater. Yeah. And if that's the case, that they come, and I always put the deal on the table and say, if you're not happy, if you're still hungry, you get a 20 euro or 10 euro, depends on the group. And then you can go to the next dinner or pizzeria and get yourself something you need. But so far, no one has asked for that money. Probably because it's so good, or they are too shy to ask.
And I think if someone does eat meat, it's about being mindful about their meat consumption and just eating less, like maybe integrating more vegan days to begin with. Like it's a process, like you were saying.
It's a process, right? Either one vegan day or one vegan dinner, right? Give it a try. There's so many apps out of there, so many recipes. Go to nice restaurants where there are more than 2 vegan options on the menu, right? If there's one page of vegan dishes, you might have a good chance that the crew in the kitchen knows what they're doing. Right? Sometimes it's really, they have one dish on there and it's very boring. It's like the chickpea curry, which everybody knows how to make it. But it's no variety. And if you have a nice menu, you also attract people who are not vegan at all, but they want to eat differently. And if it's a very nice name on the menu, it's like a surprise. Oh, I want to try this. It sounds very yummy, even without knowing that it's vegan. So don't label it as vegan in the main menu. And then you have a section, the vegan section, which only the vegans look. And then in the main section, you have the same dishes nicely incorporated. And then by default, people choose the vegan option.
I would think that this is where spices can be so interesting as well, because I think a lot of times we're just used to picking the meat option, and because we like the sauce that's on it, but really thinking about how to leverage spices in interesting ways, I think can be helpful.
Yeah, so if it comes to lamb or to pork, we have different seasonings, right? And our brain and our tongue understands, okay, this is attached to pork because it's paprika, it's a little sweet, a little sugar in there. And when you understand that, also the way of searing and producing and preparing, you can make a similar experience without taking away like the joy and the culinary experience. Yeah. There was one chef, he said, if veggies don't taste, it's not the fault of the veggie.
It's the fault of the chef.
Yeah. So, and that comes to vegan cuisine, that comes to any cuisine. If you don't know how to work with your pan, with your oven, with the spices, the way of searing, the way of producing, even if you don't know how to cook a proper steak, you can make it a terrible experience, yeah? So it brings it back to how you produce it. A little bit education, trying, sticking to it, understanding the product. And if it starts with the vegan cuisine, it's a new start, slowly, right? I was cooking. The way I was eating and cooking is how I used to get it to know the 40 years of my life. And then it only changed after. And it's a completely new spectrum of ingredients, of spices, of way of cooking, of colors I didn't know of, right? Because I was so stuck to my 15 dishes, which comes from the family. You always cook like the bolognese this way, and you have pasta, and you have some potato dishes, which you take from generation to generation to generation. And it's the go-to dish which makes you happy. You feel coming home. My mom, she always made a pasta with shitload of butter and pork loin. And that was always the thing. It's not healthy because there's no green at all. It's just pasta, butter, salt, pepper, maybe a little muscard, and the pork loin. But everybody in the family was like, oh yeah, this is so good. Yeah.
Just because it reminded them of home, which shows you how powerful your mind is.
It's the good feeling you have with home and with food. Yeah, and if I couldn't make this the vegan way because it's almost impossible. I also don't want to, but there are other dishes, which is an egg salad in a vegan version without egg. You can make it, or other stuff. Yeah, like a pasta I had in school, in high school. We had like a very special sausage in there. And you can make it with different ingredients because it's then again the seasoning and the sugar in there, because back that time there was a lot of sugar in the tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But that gives you the memory of food. And then we are like, oh yeah.
Gets imprinted.
40 years ago. It tastes like childhood.
So how do we do that? Because our minds do get so fixed as human beings. Like, how can we sort of change our relationship with food in our minds to make it a more healthy relationship?
Try to cook your own food. It's a good start already. And if you go to all the ready-made, the very convenient stuff which you put into the microwave, some products are very good, but most of them are just give you like a very short pleasure, and there's a lot of stuff in there. So if you start cooking yourself with some basic recipes, some basic spices, some basic ingredients, you are well set. Most of Germans, they have paprika, salt, pepper in the kitchen, and that's it. 3 spices. Yeah, okay, you can have way more. But how you add a good amount of fat in there, except of just adding half a block of butter, nut paste, nut fat from nuts, from almonds, from cashews, from sesame seed. It's a better way to add fat and flavor to food. Yeah, just get started and have also a little bit thinking of where I can get some proteins from, where I can get some vitamins. Yeah, try to make it colorful. Eat the rainbow, right? Then you have naturally,
that's a good one. Eat the rainbow.
Eat the
Keep
rainbow.
that in
yeah,
mind.
because the nature gives us everything, and the plants, while they grow in different colors, there are nutrients in there, there are antioxidants in there are minerals in there, and the different colors. Even that you don't know what's in there, but the rainbow gives you everything. Can I do that all the time myself? No, but just give it a try, right? And read a little bit, but don't stress yourself too much.
Have
Just
fun with
try.
it.
Yes.
Yes, because food should be fun. And
Yeah,
it
eating should be fun, preparing should be fun. And if you don't like it, invite friends over and make a cooking party together. Right? Some people say, I can produce this, I like it. And others bring other food, or you just, everybody brings the ingredients and then decide together what you want to do.
You can learn together and teach one another.
Learn together, and then you try it and say, oh, that's good. Do you have the recipe? Yeah, I do. Check this page. It's about sharing the dish, sharing experience, sharing knowledge, and making things yourself and be like entertaining rather than sitting at home Netflixing and eating something from the microwave container.
No more tubs of ice cream. That's what you're telling me.
That's okay, but you can also
Once in a
make
while.
healthy ice cream with only banana.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of alternatives now to sweets, which is like I make my own gluten-free type of cookie. That I put in the freezer, which is delicious. So I know a lot of people you see out there are like creating these healthier versions of all the treats that they like, and you can find that information when you look for it.
If you want to.
If you want to.
Like with everything. If you want to find information, it's out there.
Yeah.
Is the vegan way the best way? I don't know, because sugar is vegan. Canola oil is vegan. Is it good for you? No. Right? It's the way we eat it and we consume.
The way you consume. That's right. Not all vegan food is created equally. A lot of it's processed that you find in the stores, and also
and that's a shame. Right? But that's convenient food again. So you try to take out the animal part and eat the mortadella and just have added something else, but it's still processed. So it's not naturally the better product. Most of the time it's also like other stuff in there which is not very healthy. So it's sad that the vegan convenient products always get this bashing thing because they are not healthier, because we think, and then the lobby says, yeah, checking all these vegan substitute products, they are even worse. And yes, some are even worse. But if you think about it, processed food on conventional one and processed food vegan, still processed, right? You can eat it, but not every day.
Why do you think that there is a subsect of the population that doesn't seem to care? That they just go for the quick and they eat unhealthy? Where do you think that stems from? Just the lack of education?
Just lazy, probably. Lack of education as well, right? I mean, where does the education comes from? Not from the school, not from university, only from inside, right? You see it from your parents. You cook like your parents cooked. Our parents cooked like they saw from their parents. And then you go to a supermarket or you see advertising and they say, yeah, buy this, buy now, buy this energy drink because it gives you, it has vitamins in there, right? It's just easy, digestible food. And then you see the display and they say, okay, cool. Then you see like a green packaging and you think, green is healthy, okay, yeah. But then,
that's another thing is branding and marketing.
yeah. So here it goes.
Make it flashy.
And then if you turn it around and see like, oh no, man, so much salt and saturated fat, but many people just don't know what's in there about the ingredients and all. They go to the doner kebab and complain that the doner is now €7 or 8. Well, it's so expensive. Because it was way too cheap before, right? How can this be like a doner and $2.50? How can it be like paying rent, paying the guy, ingredients, energy costs? And then it comes again to this, everything, especially in Germany, needs to be cheap because we only spend 10%, maybe now a little bit more, of our disposable or spendable income for food. If you go to Spain and Italy and France, they spend way more money because food has a much bigger place in the society. You eat for you meet for dinner, and then you spend like 3-4 hours chatting, talking, drinking. Okay, here in Germany it's a little bit cold, but yes, it's a different culture when it comes to food, like connecting people and then cooking together and having more and having dessert, and then comes cheese board, and you sit there until midnight and you're telling stories. And here it's more like 15 minutes, okay, done, let's go.
Eat and go.
Dinner done. We are not sharing dishes traditionally. I order my food, please don't try it, right? Like this way. I want to eat my food. Why do you want to share food with me? No. So it's like this also the thing. But it also changes now the perspective that we Germans are sharing dishes like tapas style and stuff, because I like it a lot. Because I like to try a lot of food, and if I only have my dish, it's like, oh, come on, I want to try this, but I can't eat so much.
So
Or
more
this
like having small plates.
Yeah,
of little
this
things.
sharing food. And then, okay, I like this a lot. And then I personally think about how can I do it myself? What kind of ingredients? Or I never tried eggplant this way. It's crazy because eggplant, I hated eggplant because my father, he either fried it to death, it was a sponge with a lot of oil, or he didn't cook it long enough that it was like rubbery. So both ways I didn't like, so I didn't fall in love with eggplant. But now that I know how you can make eggplant very nice, it's a complete different world. Right? And I think everybody has some veggies which our parents prepared differently, and we can't eat it because during childhood we had been eating like traumatized from a cauliflower soup, or like the Brussels sprouts, which are overcooked, very mushy and soggy. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I know what you mean. No, I can't eat it. And you can try it completely different ways. Put it in a pan, sear it, add a little bit orange juice, and it's completely different to this overcooked, creamy Brussels sprout. Disgusting.
You bring up a really good point, is changing kind of how we eat too. Like we think we need 3 meals a day, but not necessarily. We think we need one large meal, but not necessarily. We could want to have several meals. Some people eat at different times of the day. It's also being creative and not just following, what's been put before us.
Yeah, that, and also most of people are having a job which doesn't need so much energy, right? So we are sitting here, we're in a city, we have public transportation, could use a bicycle, but sometimes it's dangerous. So we don't need so much energy to keep our system alive. We don't have so much stress that we have to run away. Or also, fortunately, we have a lot of food. I never had a situation that I have been starving and didn't have food. Sometimes I'm saying I'm starving because I didn't have food for one day or maybe 18 hours, but it's a different starving from other regions. So we don't need so much food which we put into ourselves, right? We don't need so much energy. We don't need so much fat. We have a heater. We are safe here. So look at the society, little tummy, right? Even myself, but that's because of marketing.
All that
right?
eggplant.
Never trust a skinny chef. That's why I can have a little tummy. The thing is, we eat too much and then we store energy for genetically times when we have to get access to this energy, like in crises. We don't have crisis here, right? We have a lot of food all the time. We can go to a restaurant, massive portions, because in our mind is whenever this is a big portion, it's good value for money, but then please, not more than 10 euro, right? Then you have like pasta a lot and a little bit veggies in there if it comes to Asia. To the Asian supermarket, and you're like, who should eat this? Right? It's a portion for 2, but still, it's always a lot. And then it comes to the food waste. right? Overeating or throwing it away or taking it home, forgetting in the fridge because we didn't label it. After 1 week, we say, I can't eat this anymore. Then it goes into the trash. Yeah, so many UFOs, unknown food objects, I call it, when you find something in the fridge. When I go to friends and I like this thing, open it up, take everything out which is already opened, like jars, containers. They say, oh, don't open it. They say, why? It's in the fridge. Yeah, but I don't know when I put it in there. Yeah, so these things. And then I say, okay, you check it. Does it look good? Does it smell good? Yes. Okay, then we try it and then we use it. So again, putting the senses together, but we don't need so much food, right? How much can a person eat? Maximum 500 grams for dinner. Whenever I come for my cooking classes and I put everything on the table, and there's like 15 people, and they say, this is all the food we're going to need for today? And I said, yes. Because if you calculate how much you need for the dinner, so 500 grams, 15 people, ready cooked food with the starter, with the dessert, 7 kilo. It's not a lot. Because if you use pasta, it absorbs the water. If you use rice or any other stuff, so this little amount of rice is a big side dish. And then you have veggies and this and stuff. But we think we need to put way more on a table. Or if you have a party, same thing, 500 grams per person, more you can't eat. But then you have 3 kilo of potato salad, 5 kilo of pasta salad, and then you have a lot of meat if it comes to barbecue. So we forget to calculate how much we can eat, and then we tend to buy too much, or we tend to barbecue too much. Everybody is full, but we still have half the plate full of chicken breast and stuff.
Yeah.
And we better cook it, and we can eat it tomorrow. Yes, we can, but why? Yeah, it's also our mentality. We want to be a good host. No one should be going home like hungry, but most of the time we go home, and even myself, I keep eating. It's so yummy. Yeah, but I'm already full.
Is there a good way to eyeball that? Like how much food we should have in a portion?
Like a handful of greens, carbs, and protein.
So three handfuls in a meal.
So, and that's good, right? When you put it in the hand, not the fist, but put it in your hand. You can be creative, like open the hand.
Right. And I know sometimes when I've been out in public ordering food, I even ask them to give me less. Like I see the size of the plate, and I ask like, don't give me the bread, or can you just give me a little bit of this or that? So you can actually ask them to downsize it for you, so you don't have so much food waste.
Yeah, I had this, and then they said it's only for kids, and I said, come on. But this is Germany, right? Some said we can do half a portion, which is not even half a portion, because it's maybe
or take the other half home.
75% of the big one, because they say, it doesn't look very sad if you put half a portion on there, but if you ask for half a portion, it's okay. And and then you can take it home. Of course, it's also good for the evening or next day. If you bring your container.
You bring your own container, or definitely be sure to recycle. What do you think about fasting? Is that something that you incorporate into your...
into my life? Yes, I started last year and this year as well, 1 week of fasting, Buchinger, meaning no solid food, just drinking, and reducing the amount of calories to 500 calories per day, which worked very well. And I think we all should do that, just to clean up a little bit our system. Once a year. Also twice a year you could do. But the fasting thing makes our body like, okay, I have some resources here. Maybe use it. Most of the people have more resources attached to the body than not.
Yeah.
And the fasting thing helps our metabolism. It's a little tricky, especially in the beginning. Again, like with everything, because we are so used to wake up, eat, drink a coffee, drink a tea, do this, do that. It's 12 o'clock. Oh, lunchtime. Okay. Yeah. So it's the habits, everybody has habits, which is good. Habits are good. Keep us going. Make us comfortable. If there are no habits, we just say, okay, what to do today? Yeah. Also.
Yeah, and if everybody incorporated fasting, it would probably help with sustainability as well.
If everybody would start fasting now and the supermarkets would be full, like everybody would be eating, we had more food waste. But it's a cycle, right? If we ask for less produce, less eggs, less meat, less fish, eventually the industry feels like, okay, there's no big demand. They want to eat differently. So the way is going more into the alternative protein, which I like to call it, not the replacement. But alternative protein is a good way because it's an alternative, or it's the protein which we used to eat 100 years ago. It's like the traditional old school protein. Yeah, and then also eat less, right?
Portion
Mindful.
control. Where do you see the future going in terms of consumption and food waste?
I wish that we all consume less, right? In this industry or in this society, we always tend to be poked to consume more. New telephone, new technology, best of thing ever, new TV, buy, consume, and the same with food. I wish that we don't need so much, that we feel that we don't need so much. If it comes to fashion, right? A lot of people have their wardrobe full of fashion for whatever reason. We tend to buy because we feel better. And if this mindset changes also when it comes to food, that I understand I can get all the nutritions I need in a delicious meal, not needing like the salmon, not needing a steak all the time, maybe once a month, cool stuff, right? So if this change in perspective takes place, we are in a better place already. Yeah? Fast fashion, in Chile, in one desert, there are 40 million tons of trash, unused clothes. It's insane. It's double the amount of food waste in Germany every year. And it's a big kind of trash pile with fashion. And then you have like all the plastic, which is also a big thing. If I go grocery shopping, a lot of things is packed in plastic. Yeah.
We talked a little bit about cultural differences. So we're all in different places, but I think there's a unifier and the message here, which is mindfulness and awareness. And if everyone could take in just a moment of mindfulness and awareness in their daily routine, wherever they are, and implement even one or two things, it can make great change.
Yeah. One or two things, discover it, and then again, talk about it. Right? So it's like we're talking now, someone is listening, trying, okay, oh yeah, that sounds good. Maybe I try it. You're satisfied with this change and you talk about it. And maybe you can not enlighten, but you can bring this little seed to another person and say, okay, maybe I don't need this. Or you cook for someone, if it comes again to my space, to food. You cook a very delicious dish, or you come to my cooking classes, or you check the website and get inspired and say, okay, I want to try this dish because obviously it's on there and it looks nice and it's a different way of cooking. And then you share this meal with others.
There you go.
And if your grandfather says, yes, I like these mushrooms or I like this tofu, Crazy. Good.
That's great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I feel like I learned a lot about food consumption and mindfulness, and it's been a really inspiring conversation. I appreciate everything you do and, of course, your time today.
Thanks for having me, Holly. And when are we cooking?
Soon.
Soon. Yeah, looking forward to cooking with friends and
Yes.
eating a nice party. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to attend one of your cooking events.
Cool.
If you liked my conversation with Thore Hildebrandt, then please like and subscribe. I look forward to bringing you more enriched conversations about the changes we can make in the world today.